Welcome back to the Anxiety Ridden Moms Club. And today's episode is going to start with a disclaimer that this episode isn't going to be for everyone. Everyone's probably not going to agree with us wholeheartedly, but it's our opinion and our opinion only. And at the Anxiety Ridden Moms Club, we pride ourselves in having tough conversations, and that's what today's about. Today is about having tough conversation.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that today it's all about coming together, but in a way that we just have understanding for each other. And I think sometimes that, even we have questions even through this that I hope you guys give us feedback because ultimately we all learn from each other. And if we're talking, and that's how we get better, right? And we understand and maybe we'll learn a little something off of each other.
Absolutely. And hey, yeah, learn, and my opinion's been changed once,
Yep,
you never know.
exactly.
Anything's possible. So we are looking
Exactly.
for that feedback. We want to know your thoughts. Um, but we're going to do it respectfully. And we
Mhm.
want you to give those thoughts and opinions respectfully as well. So
Yes.
here it goes. Um, this week, there is a YouTube influencer or a YouTube family, if you will. They go by the husband goes by the handle at McJugger Nuggets, which is questionable in itself, but that's beside the point. No, they have grown their audience to millions. They share every small and big detail of their life. It is all online. And this week he posted, um, it appears the X is he does a lot of things on X, formerly known as Twitter. And then YouTube, obviously. But his statement was, "This week, my wife and I made the very difficult decision to terminate their pregnancy, due to Trisomy 21. The choice was not made lightly. We really appreciate all of the personal stories that you guys shared with us, especially the unconditional support we received from fans with no matter what we decided. I know some of you may be very disappointed to hear this news. We are devastated. This has been extremely traumatic for both of us, especially Ashley. She underwent the procedure earlier this week and is on the mend. Thankfully, everything went smoothly, but emotionally, we are drained. Trisomy 21, also known as Down syndrome, is caused by an extra chromosome. It is caused by an error in cell division, like a glitch. The odds of a baby having it is 1 in 1,000. When I first confronted this news, I was shocked but optimistic. If they're a little slow intellectually, then we'll make it work. I signed on to be a parent, come what may, but I just didn't fully understand what Down syndrome entailed." So, as you can imagine, there have been so many posts and so many discussions.
Mhm.
Um, I will start first by saying that I have a friend, someone I used to work with, that, well, I've heard lots of stories in my hometown and different things
Mhm.
of some sort of trisomy where the baby doesn't survive. They only live for minutes to hours, sometimes days, because developmentally they're missing key organs and so right when I saw the statement, my first step was to go to ChatGPT because I didn't know that Down syndrome was trisomy 21. So
Ah, okay.
I was like, okay, wait, hold on. Like, are there different forms? Like, trisomy, obviously, I've learned there are different numbers that affect different chromosomes and how the baby, so on and so forth. So that was step one for me. Um, the comments, this is spreading like wildfire. The
Mhm.
comments are all over the place, but the one most commonly that I noticed or recognized were parents of Down syndrome children
Mhm.
that commenting that they are the greatest thing that's ever happened to them in their life. They bring them so much joy,
Mhm.
so on and so forth. Um,
Yeah, I do know that that these this particular couple was kind of surprised with some of the backlash and criticism that they've been given, which, I mean, for one, you are going public with a very personal decision. It's very personal for anyone to make those decisions. I mean, I don't know how you wouldn't be surprised. I don't know how you're surprised that you're going to have a lot of families out there with beautiful Down syndrome children that have done nothing but add joy and love into their lives. And so they're probably not going to see that as a decision that they should have ever made. I just, I don't know.
Yes. So I went down the whole rabbit hole. You guys know how I do that last week's episode and told you I watched 19 documentaries about it and so on and so forth. So obviously, I had to go down this rabbit hole. And when they did, I mean, everything, the pregnancy announcement, like everything has just been in the public eye
Hmm.
from start to finish.
Hmm.
And I know you can get criticized for only showing the good stuff and not the bad stuff.
Hmm.
So there is that part, like,
Hmm.
well, we're here and we want you to know what real life is like. But I also think there are moments and decisions that are private family decisions that shouldn't happen necessarily raw and on the internet, like,
Hmm.
because you have to be careful. They may have done days and months and weeks of research. They may
Hmm.
have like we don't know because as far as I know that they didn't share that part of like why or how they came to that decision.
Hmm.
I would love to know, but they read like the anatomy scan, like they read the genetic testing or the amniocentesis
Hmm.
results
Hmm.
on YouTube.
Oh,
There is a video out there of them reading the results and then she just I mean breaks down and crying and like, "What? Like why?" Like that is again a private family moment that you just blasted for the world.
yeah.
That alone bothers the hell out of me.
Hmm.
And then yeah, now it's we're grieving the loss of our child. Leave us
Hmm.
alone.
I think
It doesn't work like that.
that's the part I don't really understand. I mean, ultimately, I get if you have a following, which I'll be honest, we have never heard of these people. So,
Yeah, neither.
I mean, it's great. They have millions and millions, I guess, of followers, but I've never heard of them. And they're definitely making their way around now under the circumstances of what they've chosen to do. And I totally agree with you that in social media, ultimately, they want to show their life, and it is a part of their life. But there are certain things that you should maybe think about a little bit differently before you want to post, or you should 100,000% expect you're going to have a lot of opinions on a very, very, very emotional topic, a very serious topic, and definitely people have their opinions on it. Like, it's just one of those things that I'm kind of surprised that they're surprised. At least if you're going to do it, then accept it and move on. I mean, it's what you wanted to do. You chose to get on there and discuss it. Now you have families coming out of the woodwork giving you some backlash, but I don't know. I just kind of think it's pretty naive, I guess, too. But I also understand there's a way that I mean, I understand if you're that public and you obviously are pregnant and then all of a sudden you do terminate the baby. I mean, you're not going to be showing them that you're delivering a baby. So there has to be a discussion probably at some point. But I don't know that I would have done it at the moments that they chose. And I don't know. I just have a little bit of, they got really famous for the wrong reasons, I think,
Mhm. For sure.
ultimately for the wrong reasons.
Absolutely. And I think people sharing their stories online and sharing their children with Down syndrome and
Hmm.
I think that is acceptable criticism.
Hmm.
Taking it a step further, he states that they've received death threats, that he now sleeps with a gun and
Oh,
beside his bed and different things. And obviously that is not okay. At
no,
the
that's ridiculous.
at the end of the day, whatever state they're in, her body, her choice,
Hmm.
right? Um, by law, legally, whatever state they're in, it was they could do that. And
Hmm.
I don't even know the laws as far as like if there is um an issue with the baby or the baby's not
Hmm.
100% healthy. Like I don't even know the abortion laws and how that works. I don't
Hmm.
know. Um and that's something that we don't wanna do. We don't wanna get into the abortion right or wrong
Mhm.
discussion.
Mhm.
Um, People obviously have their own opinions. I also have mine,
Yes, I have mine.
and you have yours, and that's okay. It is really, really hard for me, knowing that she was 21 weeks
Mhm.
along,
Mhm.
and I get it. To some people, it's a clump of cells. To me, I had my son at 28 and 5/7, which means 28 weeks and 5 days,
Mhm.
and he is a healthy 15-year-old boy,
Mhm.
and to think that I gave birth, so from where she is or was in her pregnancy to the day I gave birth is a short 7 weeks apart.
Mhm.
So, if you do truly believe that I get it, okay? Like, that is your opinion,
Mhm.
but I know that at 28 weeks, 7 weeks, a short 7 weeks, I had a
Mhm.
baby that
Mhm.
is a 15-year-old that amazes me every single day.
Yeah.
And so, for me, personally, that is a hard pill.
Mhm.
That's a hard pill to swallow, but again, that's not the full point of today's conversation. I also wanna talk about the amniocentesis, if I'm saying that right,
Mm.
but the accuracy of the results.
Yes, is only like 50%, which I can even say when I was pregnant with my daughter, because I hit that magical age of, getting older. They were like,
What is that magical age?
it's 35.
That's so silly.
It
That's
is
so
silly.
silly.
But I was asked if I wanted to have these different tests, would I terminate the baby if the baby did have Down syndrome? But at that point, in which I told them no, I just personally, for me personally, whatever God gives me, that's what I'm going to have. So I never even had the test. But even at that point in time, my physician even told me that these tests come back positive, false positives a lot. So he's like, so even if we do the test, it comes back positive. I'm just telling you, a lot of times there are false positives, so I won't want you freaking out anyways. So, I mean, it's obviously it's not something that's very accurate. Now, at the same time, I don't know, maybe these people went on to do extra testing and they did it, you know what I mean? Because I know it's like, the first, I think it's a blood test anyways. I never did it, so I don't know. I think it's a blood test that you do to check it at first. And I mean, if it's positive, I would think you would have options then to go on to more testing. And maybe that's what they chose to do with getting the amniotic fluid and stuff like that to verify it. Um, but with that kind of a high of a rate of not being accurate is to me would have made it an even harder decision to make because you just don't know. I mean, there's so many stories of women having all sorts of different children. And this was a while ago, and as we're talking about, I just remember there was a lady who even she was pregnant, and they basically said she didn't have enough amniotic fluid in her uterus, and so she should terminate the baby. And she said absolutely not. She was not for that. She's gonna try to have pregnancy, and if for some reason it terminates during it, then it does. She wanted to take the chance and see what happened. And that baby made it full term. She had a healthy baby with absolutely nothing wrong with it. So I mean, there's always errors in a lot of different things, but Down syndrome is one for sure that's much more common to not be accurate.
And that's a whole conversation in itself too, as you mentioned the testing, like, I think regardless of your age at this point in time, you have the option to do the
Hmm.
genetic testing, and a
Yeah.
lot of people, I think, do it very, very early on to find the gender very, very
Yes.
early on.
Hmm.
And it was something that I mean, that alone is a decision that we make as
Hmm. Yes. Anything we do
parents.
is
If
all.
you wanna and for me, that, you know, I always wanna be prepared and I always wanna be a plan, but that
Yeah.
that for me was something that I was like,
Oh, no, see, I'm totally like, I wanna know. I wanna know right now what the
yeah,
sex of this baby is. So I knew always early. I celebrated at that moment so I could start getting prepared and ready and decorate and all that kinda good stuff. Yeah, I love to
yeah.
know because I
And
don't think it for
I
me, it
found out at
doesn't take
20
anything
weeks,
away.
but I didn't do the genetic testing because I didn't wanna know. I
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
if they had
And I
Down
just
syndrome, you know
well,
what I mean?
I knew for me, I knew, of course, the sex at 20 weeks too from the ultrasounds, but I always wanna know the sex of the baby. But I didn't care about anything else. I just looked at it as what it is. Now, if there was something that was in an ultrasound and I mean, I know there's all sorts of stories of all sorts of things, and, you know, I don't know. Maybe this is a lot.
I'm a religious person. I've been very vocal about being a religious person,
Mhm,
and I am a firm believer that God sends you and has his hand in who
mhm.
you receive, and so that in my mind, but I'm also speaking from a place that I have 2
Yes.
fully healthy children, so I don't know. I
Mhm,
would say from what I've been reading online is the majority of people that have a baby with Down syndrome.
mhm,
Again, I said it in the beginning of the episode, they say that they can't imagine their life without that human
mhm.
and that they're the most loving, kind, caring.
Yes.
I text you all the time of, oh my God, now I'm drawing a blank on their names, but Extra Chromie Homie.
Yes.
Sarah and Emily,
Yes.
Extra Chromie Homie.
Yes.
Um, it's 2 sisters and one of them has Down syndrome,
Yes.
and
It's just so cute.
their videos are the joy of my life
Yeah.
currently. Like,
Yeah.
everything they do is ridiculous,
Yes.
and I think it's Sarah and Emily, right?
I think that's yeah, I think you're right. I haven't you haven't sent me one actually recently, so I'm not 100%. I haven't seen them on some it's kinda weird I haven't seen them lately, because normally they pop up in my stuff, like, every
Oh
so often,
oh my god,
and I
it's
haven't seen them lately. But she's
yeah,
so cute, she's so cute. There's
I'm gonna
actually quite a few that I have that that'll, pop up with siblings and stuff like that, and they're, just amazing. It's just amazing. Like, even the
they
relationship.
genuinely seem to
Mhm.
enjoy, and I'm not saying they, I'm saying they as in Sarah and Emily, like, they
Yes,
enjoy every single thing that they
yes,
do,
yes.
and Sarah is a lesbian, and, she's a divorced lesbian, and her sister has a
Yeah.
lot to say about that. I mean, so they have me rolling, like, they'll do, get readies with me
Mhm.
where Sarah's getting ready, and then the one with Down syndrome is, like, giving her commentary on what she's doing, and it's the it's the fucking funniest thing I've ever seen. I just love it. I love it, I love it. Um, it
Yeah. There's so many that seriously I think bring a lot of joy to other people's lives. Even just like for us to watch them on TikTok brings us so much joy. I just think that I think that's why for me this subject is just kind of a hard one. There's I understand years and years and years ago that we didn't have the resources, we didn't have the availability of things to even help the families as much as what we do now. I mean, it's a whole new world to help and give people the support that they need that we see this all the time with families with Down syndrome children who are wonderful lights of their life. And I think that's why this subject on this particular couple has even blown up even larger because of what we all get to witness and see and be a part of anymore that, you know, many years back, obviously people weren't as familiar and weren't able to they didn't experience it, so they don't really understand it. We do understand now. We do have the resources. We do have people who can support and help and make great things and have wonderful lives with these people that bring such joy. I don't know. They just bring a lot of joy, I feel like, and everyone that I ever get to watch on TikTok, they all make me smile. Every single family all makes me smile. All of them do.
1000%.
They are just amazing.
So, the next touching on the feedback that they've been getting, so the next statement that they made was, "To all my fans who have weighed in on this topic, who have autism or Down syndrome or any other conditions, we appreciate you. You something." I can't read that because I don't know, my print screen didn't work right.
You probably
You
should have
matter.
pre-read
It's
this.
what it says. You matter a lot. I'm like, what is that M word? Anyway, oh my gosh. You matter a lot, and we're glad you're here. I commend you and your families for having the strength and courage to push forward. As for us, we made a difficult decision that we believe in the long run will be beneficial for our family. Thankfully, we had a choice. It will take a little time to move on, but we are excited to try again in the future and hopefully have a better outcome. Love you guys and thank you for understanding.
Yeah, I don't like that statement in so many ways. I don't like that statement in so many ways, but that's just my opinion. Don't think it was very
What?
I
I
don't think
did
it
that.
was written That was in poor taste, my personal opinion. I don't know.
How will this be beneficial to you and your family in the future? You had a
Yeah,
choice, you made your choice, but please tell me
it's
because
not.
you won't I guess because you won't have I can't. In my head,
That's
that one
poor
is
taste.
hard for me.
Yeah, that's done in very poor taste, I can say that. That's for sure. I don't know. It's like I say, this is such a
Well, and that one didn't work out,
mm,
so hopefully in the future it
yeah,
does.
I mean, I don't know.
At least be respectful to the life.
Yes.
And for me, that statement does not come across as respectful to the
No,
life that is.
been lost been
And
lost.
furthermore, you've now recorded this on the internet.
Mhm,
And little Kylie here in Illinois has it on her phone. When you have the next child,
mhm.
this is all things that they can drag up and see one day.
Yeah,
Or that some little asshole in middle school can be like,
talks about.
mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then they find out about the sibling that they could have had
Mhm,
and don't have.
mhm. I don't know. It's everything about it just I don't know.
Ick.
Yeah, I don't like it. And that is the bad thing about there's great things about social media and not so much as well. And I just think that that's like I said, I think everything that the way that they've gone about it, again, I think that their decisions are personal decisions. There's everybody has a right to make their own decisions for their families, however that may be. I just think that they've done some things and I don't know. I don't
So you
know.
ready
This
for
is
the
such a
next
weird
statement?
thing. Oh my
Because
gosh.
it's just like it's the gift that keeps
Keeps
on
on
giving
giving.
and the train wreck you can't look away from. Here it is. I've never seen such hate or I fucking still can't say this word. Vitriol.
Mhm.
Vitriol. I need someone to give me a vocabulary lesson also, clearly. If you've been paying attention to this podcast for a long time, you know
Yeah,
that I
because
don't
there are
know
some
my
people that do
fucking
pay
words.
attention to the fact that you don't know how to talk half the time.
I know. So shout me out when I make these. I don't know the words. I've never claimed to be an English professor. That's what made me drop out of college was a fucking English
Was
course. And
speaking? It was
yeah,
reading and
grammar.
speaking.
Fuck, like can't. If it doesn't say fuck, it's not. I don't know how it works. I'm just saying. Okay. Anyway, skipping that
Okay,
word.
okay.
I've never seen such hate in a word I don't know. For two people grieving the loss of their unborn child and making an impossible decision.
Mhm.
The last 24 hours have exposed a side of humanity that is deeply disturbing, being called murderous pieces of shit, evil compared to Hitler, and receiving nonstop death threats. Seeing my 6-year-old dog with stage 4 kidney disease be used as a weapon, manipulating my words and intent in a tweet, or saying we'll regret this decision forever and must repent to God is absolute insanity. If you've ever wanted to marvel at the depravity of people online, just check the replies on my latest tweet. It's a shit show of epic proportions. This is reflective of the current world and landscape we're all living in. What's more troubling is a lot of these people use God or Jesus as their justification for threatening us and wanting to cast us into hell. Seems pretty hypocritical. The only thing that this motherfucker has said that I've agreed with.
Yeah, I agree with that
That
because
is,
I will say, okay, one thing I will say that I same as you, I am very much have a strong faith in God, but he also makes it clear that he will pass the judgment that's not for us to do. So that's
1000%.
why I look at it like this. At the end of the day, I don't think anybody should be giving them death threats, telling them they're going to hell, any of those things. I do think that there's a place to talk about the fact that they may regret a decision at some point in time. I think that there's a lot of people in this world who have probably made different decisions, especially along the lines of abortion. I think that probably do have some regrets. But again, I think that's their personal journey. It's for them to go through, and I don't think it's I can here's the thing is, I guess at the end of the day, as I'm talking about judging and we are somewhat judging them, but I judge them more in their if this is tasteful or not in the way that they're sharing it. more than the fact of what they decided for their family. I know that the decisions I would make obviously would be different. I wouldn't abort a Down syndrome child ever. I mean, I just wouldn't. There's no way. I mean, I would feel that that's what God gave me and that's what we're going to have. I mean, I could have children missing limbs. I could have children with all sorts of different things that can happen. I mean,
Uh,
I just personally would never ever do that. So I can say for me, it's definitely not the right decision. That doesn't mean that it's for me to tell them what they should or should not do, and ultimately, it's nobody deserves death threats over that. But you also should also realize you put this all over the internet. So, I mean, there are people in the world that unfortunately give their opinions way too strongly and invades and get ridiculous. When if you do believe in God at the end of the day and you really do believe that somehow or not that's gonna create them those issues. I mean, that's then let God do his job if that's what you believe in. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I don't think that's for us to know. I don't know what's gonna happen when they get there for sure. I don't know what discussions that I'm gonna have when I meet Jesus. So, you know what I mean? Like,
we just had that. Brad and I just had that conversation yesterday, and I said, "I am holding strong that there's a holding place for those who aren't quite ready for the pearly gates."
yes, I
I
mean, that's the thing.
really and when you have faith, you have to believe in because you don't know,
You
and
don't know.
I've grown up learning about purgatory, and my
Yes,
God, I hope that there is a purgatory, a
yes,
place where,
yes.
you know.
Yes. Yeah, and I
And
definitely can
and
see that it just take a little extra time for somebody, but that doesn't mean you're going to hell either. You know what I'm saying? It's just
right.
I don't know.
It's not our
Uh,
decision to
It's
make.
not our decision to make. It's for when you get there, but it's not for me to condemn someone or anything like that. I don't agree with any of that at all. At
And
all.
I am going to say this. Again, everyone has an opinion.
Yes.
Everyone has a right to their opinion.
Mhm,
I am not saying that I am right or wrong. I'm saying that I have an opinion.
mhm,
And for me, the and I know I don't want to get deep into an abortion conversation.
mhm,
But for me, and I feel like this is relevant with the Down syndrome conversation, where do you draw the line?
mhm,
Because I have a friend that has a deaf child.
mhm.
So
See, that's
if I have a
I
baby
think
that's deaf or blind, I
yes,
can't murder them.
right.
But I guess what it comes down to, and from what I've learned and researched, is that some people don't believe that the baby has rights or is alive until they're
Mhm,
born.
mhm,
I think. I think
mhm,
that's where the
mhm,
argument comes. Her
mhm,
body, her choice, and it's not a human being.
mhm,
Um, I don't know. Again, when we started this episode, we talked about let us know. I would love to, I would love to know your thoughts.
mhm,
From me, I had a baby and he lived outside of the womb before he was supposed to. And so that's where it's hard for me. And
mhm,
I'm not trying to be judgmental by any means. I just don't understand it. And literally laying in bed last night when we were talking about this episode and prepping for this episode, that's what came to mind is where do you draw the line?
mhm,
As far as abortion, we don't like late term abortion. We don't like this you know what I mean?
mhm,
And I did. So if I have a deaf child, a blind child, or a child that's missing an arm, I can't take them out back.
mhm.
So like
Yes.
that for me is where the morality clause comes in is just like
Yeah,
where do you
we're
draw the line?
yes, yes.
What if it took them a couple months to have this, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it just and that is tough for me. It is tough.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
So
I think it's
he closes with saying so many saying they would have kept the child, put it up for adoption, or suddenly ready to adopt a Down syndrome child. That's great, with an exclamation point.
uh-huh,
You can do all of those things. However, many of the people throwing stones don't even have children, let alone one with a condition, and most likely will never do the things that they say they're going to.
uh-huh,
There has been some heinous shit said about my wife and I on some extremely large accounts. It baffles me that there are such trashy ass people who have significant followings. If you can't contribute anything meaningful to the conversation aside from the insults, then just don't post.
which I'll be honest with you, I agree with them on that as well. I mean, like I said, I think that people a lot of times feel that, the need to pass the judgment on everyone when I think really it just comes down to, again, ultimately, just all have opinions.
Okay. So on Facebook now, and I would try to show you for those who watch us on video. Have you noticed, and I hope you've noticed, but Gina, you're questionable sometimes. I don't know if you can see this. But on Facebook now, when you get on Facebook, it defaults to home. And when
Uh-huh.
you go through home, you get,
Mhm.
for any reality TV stars, I would love to have a whole episode on Amanda and Wes, but that's beside the point. When you get all kinds of random shit popping up now,
Mhm.
and you don't even have to follow it. And it just says
Yes.
follow. You
Yeah.
have to go down and click friends
Friends. Yep.
to get your friends' feed or people that you follow. All of that to say is these next couple of clips, these aren't from people I follow. These are just things that have popped up because I was down the rabbit hole of this whole conversation. The Robbie Harvey account, which again, I'm prefacing this that this isn't the account. Like, I don't follow this person. This is just stuff that popped up, probably relevant to, well, yeah,
This
relevant to what I've
yeah.
been researching. But the at the Robbie Harvey said, "You didn't lose your unborn child. You terminated it. Termination and miscarriages are not the same."
No.
Peak narcissism right here. That one made me think
Mhm.
because he does say, "I've never seen such hate for two people grieving the loss of their unborn child and making an impossible decision."
Mhm.
They did make an impossible decision.
Mhm.
Our opinion is that they should have done it in the privacy of their
Privacy of
own
their own
home,
home.
but they
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah.
And
They
I
didn't need to share
do,
all everything. They didn't need to share it's not necessary to share their entire story. You could still say that you lost a child, nobody even needs to know why. It's a personal thing in our family, it's not something we're up for discussion for. It's very devastating, whatever, and move on.
that's where I probably wouldn't have had the results of the amniocentesis
No,
online, to where the whole world found out that my child had Down
no,
syndrome when I had Down syndrome. Because while some people will say, like, that's not telling the whole story, then if you just say you lost this child and you don't give any explanation, but like,
but they also don't owe the entire world explanations on everything in their life
and I would be like,
anyway.
protect your wife, dude. Like, if this is this, like, that you guys want to have, but you guys are, but and she had, obviously she was on camera. I don't think he was holding her against her will, but like,
No.
she has all kinds of hormones and different things going on. And I
Yes,
don't,
yes,
whatever. But
yeah.
I am going to a hill that I will stand on, die on. It's not a miscarriage.
No. That was a decision that you made, it is a choice that you made. You had a right to a choice. Either way, no matter how you look at it, that was a choice. That's not like the people who wake up and all of a sudden they're running
They didn't have a
to the
choice. A
hospital because
miscarriage,
they're
you
having a
don't have a
miscarriage.
choice.
Right.
So
Totally different.
while
2
you
totally
did
different
lose a
things.
child,
Yes, and why there is still devastation to that. So I would never say anybody who makes those choices, it's not devastating to make that decision either. Um, you know, I understand that it's hard to do that, but that's not like I'm going along having this baby and all of a sudden what is going on and you're having a miscarriage. That's you didn't make that choice. So it's a lot there is still there's a difference in those 2. It's
and I would love to hear from someone that's been down the adoption path too.
mhm. Yeah,
Because
did you look into for adopting Down syndrome children? Like,
no,
is
I
there
didn't have
anything?
time. We went
I wondered
to
if
see a
I've
movie.
honestly
Uh,
never I mean, I've never been in a situation to we need to adopt or look into it really or anything. And even when like he said people are all saying that I understand he's coming from a defensive aspect where he's even saying, "Oh, you guys want to say that you're going to do it, but yet none of you are doing it, or you don't even have any children. So who are you to say anything? You never even raised a child, let alone one
and
who
while
has,
you're
you
not
know."
wrong, while you're not wrong, respectfully, shut the fuck up. At this
Hmm.
point, just grieve, do what
Hmm.
you
And move on.
you made the decision.
Hmm.
It was your decision to make. People are weighing in because you also made the decision to discuss it publicly, very, very
Hmm.
publicly.
Hmm.
At some point, grieve,
Mhm.
go through all of the emotions,
Mhm.
but shut the fuck up for a minute. Give it a second.
Mhm.
Take your time to do what you need to do. But I feel like it's
Mhm.
like at this point we've got the shovel and we just keep digging our
Yeah,
grave.
I think so.
And
I think it's time to shut up. But I mean, that's the one thing is you gotta know when it's enough talking. I think he said enough. You said your piece, you shared what you wanted to share.
you
People
are
are gonna
not
know.
going to change people's
No,
opinions.
no. Just like we're not gonna change anybody's minds of the way we think. I'm not here to change anybody's mind and believe in what I believe in. I just think that you just have to look at it that way. Whatever you share, at the end of the day, people can disagree with me on my decisions that I make in my life of whatever. That doesn't mean I'm gonna change or do anything different. If that's what I believe in, that's what I'm gonna do. And you have a right to tell, if I'm gonna put it out there for an opinion, it's just like if I walked out and asked somebody their opinion. They give it, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, "Well, I don't like that opinion, so now I have a problem." I mean, I shouldn't have asked for it to begin with,
I
and that's
mean,
literally what they were doing is saying, "So what do you guys think of this one?" I mean,
that is me and that is my personality. I ask for your opinion and I don't really want it. And
but
I
then
get
you
my
have to
feelings
suck it
hurt.
up and deal it. But then you
Yes.
get your feelings hurt and go mope for a little bit and then come back and move on. I mean, like,
That's
that's
where
just
I'm
the
at.
truth.
Like I am totally the type of person that would put something out there and then when I
Mhm,
don't get the feedback exactly like I wanted it, I would get my feelings hurt. But at this
mm,
point I would lay down and I would take a moment and I would gather myself and I would come back with a
mhm,
different topic, you know?
mhm. Yeah, that's what
But
I would do. I would just, like, look at it as it's time to move on. I don't wanna talk about this anymore on social media. I don't need to sit around and, like, defend anything. It's what you believed was right for the 2 of you, then leave it alone.
and I truly believe it might be I shouldn't say that, but maybe guilt. Maybe he can't let it go trying to defend himself because he's trying to defend it in his mind.
Mhm,
I don't know. I'm just saying like it keeps going on and on and on.
mhm.
Um,
And it could be, but I think it's a very emotional subject that I don't think he should have shared, but since he did decide to share it, I think he probably is maybe he didn't think that people would come out of the woodwork to say as much as they've said, but if you have millions of followers, you gotta know you're gonna have a percentage of them that have an opinion about that doesn't exactly match with yours. And he can sit around and critique the people who don't have kids and what they have to say, but again, everybody has a right to say whatever, just like he had a right to get on there and share his story.
I did save this one post because it kind of rang loud to me. Um, it was from Aaron Singerman. I don't know this person. Again, it just popped up. I don't follow this person. It just said, I'm sure I'll make some people mad. I don't care. As a parent of a Down syndrome child, I'm going to weigh in on this. Let's be crystal clear. This has nothing to do with pro life, pro choice, or any
Mhm.
political agenda. This is about a man who stood in front of the world, made sweeping, ignorant declarations about an entire group of human beings, and then
Yes.
monetized the announcement.
Mhm.
And I feel like
That is what bothers me about the entire thing. Because
and
to
that's what
me
we've been saying from the start.
yes,
This
and
isn't about pro
mm-mm,
life, pro choice, or
mm-mm,
any political agenda. It's about someone who stood in front of the world making.
yes, yes. Because everybody has those rights. Everybody has those rights to make the decisions that they wanna make. It's totally but I think he's been off offensive the way I don't know.
So she
I
quotes
don't I
Jessie
just
Ridgway said, Down syndrome is not a blessing. It's objectively shitty. That's in quotes from him. That he said
what?
Down syndrome is not a blessing. It's objectively shitty. Say that out loud and let it sink in. Down syndrome is not a blessing. It's objectively shitty. He didn't whisper it in private. He published it proudly as if it were research, as if it were fact, as if the thousands of families raising children with Down syndrome children
Right.
who laugh, love, connect, and thrive simply don't exist or don't count.
Oh
That
my
is not an
god.
informed opinion. That is embarrassing ignorance on a public stage. This data is not hidden. It is not hard to find. Individuals with Down syndrome consistently report happiness with their
Mhm,
lives, their families, by overwhelming majority report that their child has made
mhm,
their family better, not worse. These are not feel-good stories. These are documented outcomes.
mhm,
He didn't look any of that up. He didn't talk to those families. He made a decision based on fear and misinformation, and then he turned on the camera and made money off of it.
mhm.
That child's death became content. That is what deserves a condemnation here. not political position, not a debate about reproductive rights. A man who broadcast his ignorance to the world slandered an entire community of beautiful human beings.
That's what's disgusting to me. That guy said that so beautifully.
What makes this worse? What makes this worse is that the Ridgeways chose to monetize this decision. They turned the termination of the child's life into content, into clicks, into a platform moment.
Mhm.
That child deserved dignity in death, not a sponsored announcement.
Yes.
That shit
Ye
kept me up
yes.
last night. And then he gave a picture of their
Oh.
birth
See,
announcement.
that's that was not you couldn't have written that more that is very eloquently written. I
Gina's like, "You should have just read that at the beginning of the
that would've
episode, and
been
then we could have
great
shut
because
the
that's a
hell up."
yes, because I think that's just exactly right. You were it's so offensive to me what he has said and put out there and acting like it's just I mean, obviously they have never experienced or been around anyone with Down syndrome in their lives.
But at
That's
the end of the day,
shows their lack of
it is
education.
their choice. They
It is
didn't
their choice, but
they didn't wanna
you
live that
should
life.
but
They
keep
didn't
it to
want to take
yourself.
on
And you keep
a
it to
baby is
yourself,
fucking
and don't
hard,
but
right?
on top of it, don't be offensive. I mean, what are you trying to offend an entire like you said, a whole population of people? I don't know. It just I think the way that they went about this is just not right. I just don't think it's right. I don't think it's, and I'm, I don't know anything about these people. Maybe their content obviously has brought positive things to people's lives to have millions of people listening to them and paying attention to them. So, I mean, obviously there's something enjoyable about them. It's not like they're, the worst people on earth or something. It's just, I think this particular topic is something that they should have made some different decisions on. Maybe had somebody helping them a little bit more with this, even they're coming back in discussions, they probably should somebody else weighing in to help them, guide them in the manner that they're going about this. It's just all you've done is just be offensive to other people more because you feel that people are wrong to have their opinion of what you've done, and I have my opinion of that too. I mean, like I said, I just think that there's so many people you get on the internet, and all of a sudden it's really easy to be ignorant behind a computer. You know, I can't I think you're this, and this, click. You know what I mean? I just think there's so many people that think the internet is just it's a safe place to get behind a keyboard and say whatever you want. And but I mean he knows this going into it. You have millions of followers. You already know this. You could not tell me he's never had any negative comments
Any
about anything
negative
that's gone
feedback
on.
ever.
Come on. I mean, just come on. I don't know. Just so sad. The whole
Yeah.
thing's sad to me, but it's also because those are my views and opinions. It doesn't make I don't have any I mean, people have every right to make the decisions they wanna make, and I it's not none of my business at all. None of
Until
my
you make it
business.
our
I don't need to
business.
know about it until you wanna make it our business and talk about it and then be offensive to everybody. I just think it's
Then you gotta stop. You gotta stop, my
well,
friend. Stop. Stop talking at this point. Walk away. Silence is golden.
yeah.
Whatever you gotta do,
Yeah, move on.
stop
Go back to
talking
your
because
content.
then I'm not saying death threats are right,
No, I mean,
but
seriously, I don't
you're
even understand that.
pissing people off at this
Yes.
point. You are
Yeah.
pissing people off, and
Yep.
you gotta stop
Yep.
because it's not working.
Yeah,
Your
it's crazy.
justification. There are people in this world that it does not matter what you say, they will never agree with your justification of what just
No. So
happened.
there's no point. There's a lot of discussions we can have that you're never gonna get anywhere or change anybody's mind. So move on. Move on. Time to end.
I have to think
Move
that you
on.
guys have a lot to talk about and discuss and other things to,
Yeah,
maybe
definitely. I
social
think there's
media
a
is their livelihood.
right.
I don't know the circumstances around that, but
And even
it's a
if
tough
it
one.
is, even more reason why it's just time to move on. I mean, you just need to move on. You've had maybe you need to take, a little bit of time and then readjust and go back to whatever it is that they were posting before, which like I tell you, I know nothing about. Never seen them.
Me neither. They'll probably start popping up now. Yeah, I
Right.
don't know where they're from. I don't know.
Yeah, I
I
don't know
won't.
anything about
Yeah,
them.
I
Yes.
I don't either.
To pass I really don't feel like I'm, in the right to pass any judgment on people. I have no clue about anything about them.
Leave the judging to Jesus.
Yes. That's just how I look at it is at the end of the day, you can now everybody's gotta make their own decisions. That's
Yes,
what
and
life's
leave
all
the
about.
well, I think that's how we end this episode.
Yes.
Leave the
Me
judging
too.
to Jesus.
Right.
And I wanna say that and things change. Things
Mhm,
do change, but next week
mhm.
we're gonna have some fun. Next week, I'm gonna be like a firing squad, and I'm gonna ask Gina some completely ass random questions. Um,
That I have no clue what it is that she's up to, so it should be interesting, to say the least.
no yeah, she has no idea.
So I
As an
won't be
anxious
prepped. I will
mom
not be prepped in any way.
in any way, as an anxious mom, things pop into my head or like a situation will come up and like my mind goes 1,000 miles an hour, like
Mhm,
best case scenario, worst case scenario, what about this? And like I've decided that in those moments I've started documenting some of the questions that my mind asks.
mhm.
And I'm gonna like fire squad them at you and get your reaction and opinions to that. And it's gonna be
Okay.
so much fun.
Oh, Lord. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
but it will be fun. It'll be kinda interesting because I know your brain is like a mile a minute, so we'll see what happens.
yes. So this
Yeah.
episode was a little bit deeper.
Mhm.
It's a lot to think about, a lot to
Yeah.
digest. Next week, don't worry, we will come back with some fun and some
Lighthearted
laughs to be
fun.
had.
Yes, yes. Because
Yes.
this episode, I think, is just about thinking things through and just I don't know. There's a lot to think about. Everybody should think about these things and be discussing in their families what's right for them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, that's a wrap.
Alrighty. See you later.